What's up guys, it's Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I want to do a quick video showing you guys how to manage your Linux server from the web. So as I stated in the intro of the video, I wanted to show you guys how to set up and manage your Linux server from the web. Now, there are certain instances where you may want to do this, like if you're new to Linux and you're very uncomfortable working with the command line, where there are applications that you can install on your server that'll allow you to manage the server from the internet. And obviously I'm talking about the local network. You never want to open something like this up to the internet, so your local network is where you want to actually access this. And if you have like a VPN set up within your home network, if you're away, you can always VPN and then connect to your server from that way. Now you can do everything that I'm about to show you from the command line, but instead of installing a full-blown desktop environment on your Linux server, you can install one application, and this will allow you to manage everything from the web. And when I say everything, I mean pretty much everything, like user accounts. You can manage Apache, you can manage DNS, as well as like file sharing and stuff like that from the internet. And I'll show you guys how to actually do that now. It's an application called Webmin that you can install on most Linux servers that will definitely allow you to do all of this from the internet, from your internet browser, Firefox, Chrome, any of that. And I actually did a video on this back in 2018, and I figured I would show this since it seems like a lot more interest is being brought up or being built up around the Linux operating system, as well as setting up your home network and home lab. Well, this is a simple way of actually managing it by using the web, like I stated. So before we get started, I want to tell you guys the prerequisites for this. You want to already have a Ubuntu server set up. You want to have Apache installed on it, which is a web server that you can run on pretty much any Linux operating system. And then it's also recommended that you have a fully qualified domain set up, as well as the DNS records and all that stuff set up for your server. But since we're talking about the local network, all you have to do is remember the IP address, or you can, if you have your own DNS server set up at the house, then you can create a record that will point directly to that server anytime you type in the name of the actual server in the web browser. But I won't go through that portion of it. I'll just basically connect to it via the IP address. So let's go on and get started, because I have a server set up for this purpose. It's a virtual machine. I think I gave it like 4 gigabytes of memory, like 1 core processor, and I already have Apache installed. And if you need help installing Apache, I do have a video that I've already done showing you guys how to set up the whole lamp stack. All you have to do is install the Apache portion, and don't worry about MySQL or any of that unless you need it for other websites on your server. Now let me go down and switch over to my virtual machine, and we can walk through this full process. And before I bring up the virtual machine, I wanted to show you guys Webmin's website right fast, just to show you a little bit about what it's about and where you can go to get more information on this actual application. As you can see, it says Webmin is a web-based interface for system administrators for Unix. Using any web browser, you can set up accounts, Apache, DNS, and all that good stuff on your server using this web interface. Now, I won't go through and read all this stuff, but the current release right now is 6.1.6, and they basically fix bugs and all that stuff. And the UI improvements, you should see some UI improvements from the last time I actually did this video, which was in 2018. Now let's switch over to the virtual machine right fast, just to go on and get this thing going. Okay, cool. So I'm at the terminal right now. Like I stated, this is Ubuntu 20.04. So let me go down and log into it right fast, typing in my password right now, and then just show you guys a little bit what it's about. I think this thing has 1 processing core, 4 gigabytes of memory, You know, it's not much for this system because I don't need it for anything else other than this demonstration. But it's already updated. I ran updates on it, and I just installed this thing like 20 minutes ago. So all the security patches are done and everything on the server. So we should be good to go. Now let's go ahead on and start off by updating the system. I'm basically just going to run the sudo apt updates. And I know I said this system is up to date, but I just want to get you guys in the habit of actually updating your systems before you run any types of commands on the system. And I went on and updated my browser, or changed up the resolution so you guys can see it a little better, as well as move things around so while I'm recording you guys can see exactly what I did. But that was basically the update command, like I stated. And as you can see, we don't have any updates for the system, so we're gonna move on to the next portion. And one thing about Webmin, it's not in the main repository, so you basically have to add a repository to your sources list. So let me go down and walk you guys through that right fast. Okay, cool. So let's open up the sources list right now. So all we have to do is type sudo nano, and you can use whatever text editor you're comfortable with. So if you learn Vi or Vim first, then go on and use that. That way, if you're familiar with how to actually run the commands in there, then versus nano. But nano is very simple. I've been using nano for years, so it's quick for me to actually do things in nano. But let's go nano etc, and then apt. And then there's a file in here called sources.list, and that's what you want to open up right now. And if we go down to the bottom of this file, and we'll have to type in a repository location. So let's type dev space, and then we have to type in the location of the actual repository. And it's all on the web, just like, you know, the same format above, how it has HTTP. So let's run that right now, or type that in right now. So HTTP colon / and then downloads. And I'll put the link down in the description of the video for this repository, but it's the Webmin repository.com, and then / download, and then / repository. So, and then what you want to put after that is storage. So SARGE, you want to put a space in there, and then you want to put contrived. So boom. So that's basically everything you need to type into it. So let's press let's actually go above right fast, and I want to just put some comments in here. And it's always good to do this, and anytime you want to write comments, just follow the same format above. You use the £, and then we could put in Webmin repository. Boom. And so that'll let us know that that's the Webmin repository. It's just notes in here, and I used to be a coder at some point when some positions that I've worked, and it's always great to put notes into everything that you actually add to any type of script or configuration file. That way anybody that comes in behind you, they'll know exactly what it is. But let's go down and save this now. So Control X and then Y to save it, and we're going to overwrite that file. So with those changes, now we're good to go. Let me go down and clear the screen, and let's press enter a couple times. There we go. So now the next thing we have to do is add the Webmin PGP key in order to use that repository. So and what we're going to use is wget to download the PGP key. And so let's type that in right now, and hopefully wget is in here. I'm gonna type wg and tab it just to make sure it's there. Yes, and it's installed. So -q, and then what we need is -O, and then we have to put a dash behind that, and then let's type in the URL. So http ://, and then it's www.webmin.com, and then we have to put / J Cameron -key.asc, and then we need to pipe that into sudo apt -key and then space add, and this will add the key to our system so we can download from that repository. So let's type the pipe, and then let's go sudo apt dash key and then add, and that will add that key like I stated. So I pressed enter and we're good to go. And the reason it didn't ask me for my user account because I just recently typed in my sudo password and it hasn't reset. The way the system works is when you authenticate one time, I think it sits there for about maybe 5 minutes or so before you have to type your password in again. So we're good to go. Now we can run sudo apps updates, and you should see that repository pop up in there now for Webmin. And what you're looking for right here is, you see these 4 right here, it says Webmin on it. So download.webmin. So it checked those repositories for updates, so that lets you know that we successfully added it. Now all we have to do is do sudo apt install Webmin, and we'll install Webmin. So let's type sudo apps install Webmin and press enter, and it'll go through the install process. It'll install any repositories or any dependencies that it needs for this application to run. We already have Apache set up on here, so we're good to go with that side, but it'll install everything we need through this process right here. So I'll be back when this actually finishes. Okay, cool. So the installation is complete, and as you can see within the terminal, you'll check out that you'll see that it gives you the website for the actual browser. All you have to do is type in the IP address of it with port 10,000. Okay, cool. So I had a browser up. Now let's go down and head over to the website now. So all we have to do is type in 192.168.10.102 and then port 10,000. And then one thing about it, you have to type in https:// in order to actually get to it. And now you're greeted with the Webmin login page, and it's very simple. All you have to do is type in your user account for the system. Mine is Josh, and then let's type in our password. It doesn't create like a Webmin account or anything like that. It uses the usernames on the actual system, which is cool. It's integrated in with the security of the system. So let's press sign in, and that should bring up our system. And this is basically the interface. This is the dashboard for everything. It gives you a whole bunch of information on the first page, you know, and this is all systems information. You can see the percentage of the CPU, you can see the memory, you can see the virtual memory, you can see the hard drive space that's taken up by the system. So all that information is shown to you as soon as you logged into it. And then if you go down a little further, you can see everything about the system. I named this system Webmin, so that's the host name for it. The operating system, you know, Ubuntu Linux 20.04, you know, Webmin version 1.973. They got themes, you know, the system time. So that's the time right there, which that needs to be corrected. That's not right. And then kernel, CPU. This is the kernel version, you know, all that stuff. You know, it's 64-bit, you know, operating system, so you're good to go. And then system uptime 40 minutes, running processes 96. But it's basically all the information, a lot of the information you'll get under like HTOP, you know what I'm saying. And then right here, this is super cool. It automatically checks to see if your system is up to date, so it puts that information there. So if you have any updates, you can actually update your system from this dashboard. And then if you go down here, it shows stats history, so it'll track all the stats for the system, you know, right here. And then down here, and let me minimize this and go to recent logins. There you go. So that's the recent login. That's the IP address it actually came from. So it logs all the logins. The network interface, so you have information on that, the IP address, you know, the network interface name, you know, that's there. And then down here is the disk usage. So this gives you an idea of how the disk set up, and the percentages that's free. You know, the type right here, it's ext4, and the total size, you know, all that good stuff. So this thing gives you a lot of information as soon as you log into it. So super dope that they have this. Now you can click right here, go to Webmin. They have a lot of options in here. So backup configuration files. You can change the language and themes. And I didn't want to go through all this stuff. I want you guys to actually check this application out if you have a Linux server, so you can see what's all in here. It's super cool, all the stuff that's actually in here, you know what I'm saying, and the things that you can actually do with this. And I'll click on a few things right here, but that was the backup configuration files. You can set up the language, the UI locale. They got logs, configurations, Webmin server index. Let's see, Webmin users. So you can create users and manage everything from here. You could even set up keys, which I thought was super cool. You know what I'm saying? Two-factor authentication, you know, a lot of things that can be set up in here. But under system, it says boot up, shutdown. So you could actually shut down the computer from here, reboot it, you know, all that stuff right there under there. And I'll click on it so you guys can see. But you can store services. You can change things in system D. You know, you can have things stored on boot, you know, things that are running. So whatever application, you can go through and store things up. And I apologize, that's not the reboot section. Like I said, this is mainly for daemons that are on the system if you want to store and stop services. You can change passwords, disk network, file system backup, log file rotation, users and groups. So software packages updates. So yeah, you can, you know, find applications and actually install them on here. So super cool how you can actually do that. And then if we go over here to servers, this is one cool thing about it. It gives you all the information about what's installed on this server. As far as, like, we have Apache installed, so you can manage Apache from here. You can create your virtual hosts. I did a video a while back on setting up Apache and creating virtual hosts. Well, you can manage all that from here by changing the configuration files through interface or web interface. So it makes it super simple. Read user mail, so that's the logs, SSH server. So whatever applications that you installed on here, you can manage it from here. And it's limited, you know what I'm saying? Not everything can be controlled here, but most of your standard web server applications or server applications that you install on here can be managed from this system, and it'll bring it up and show it right up in here as you install things. Now under tools, we have, you know, command shells, so you can actually go in and execute command shells, custom commands, file management, HTTP tunnel, Perl module, SSH login, protected web directories, system and server status, update and upload and downloads, and then you got your networking information, so you can monitor bandwidth. You can put that in there or check it. The Linux firewall, you can actually manage it from here. So super dope that this is all here. Linux IP version 6 firewall, which that just kind of changes this right here and shows the IP version 6 version. Network configuration, so you can manage your network interfaces, routing, gateway, hostname, DNS clients, TCP wrapper. Then over here on hardware, you can manage RAID, logical volume management, partition, local drives, printer administration, system time, clustering. Now this is another cool feature. You know, you have clustering and all that stuff that you can set up with these servers, so you can manage a lot of it here. Now, one thing I wanted to show you guys, they have a lot of modules that you can add to here, and a lot of these modules will be activated when you install things. So if you install bind DNS server on here, it'll automatically get pulled up under was it tools or server, it'll automatically get pulled up under there as a server or an application that you can manage under the servers tab. You have DHCP, disk quota failed to ban, so that's one thing right there. Firewall D grub, bootloader, heartbeat monitor, iSCSI server, iSCSI targets, Jabber server, so if you have a voice server set up, LDAP, that's super cool that that's there. MySQL You know, you can manage that from here as well. PHP configuration, postfix, mail server. So like I stated, a lot of this stuff is on here. A lot of these applications are on here that'll allow you to manage them directly from Webmin. So definitely check this out, you know, and install this on one of your servers that you have at the house. And that way you can manage your server from the web. And it's a super cool application, and I implore you guys to actually check it out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave comments down in the comment boxes below. I love chatting with you guys about Linux and anything that's dealing with setting up your own home lab. Just hit me up, man. I'll try to help you out as best I can. But hope you guys have a good night and keep it techie.